EU Foreign Policy Chief asks European navies to patrol Taiwan Strait. Despite Beijing's anger, Guatemalan president arrived in Taiwan, strengthening diplomatic relations. Italy to reconsider China ties in US-China tug-of-war. Chinese graduates told to open their hearts to manual labor. Beijing's attack on Taiwan is just the beginning, China expert Miles Yu.
In a move that could escalate tensions with China, the EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell has urged European navies to patrol the Taiwan Strait, a disputed waterway that separates Taiwan from mainland China. Borrell made the call in an opinion piece published on Sunday, April 24th, in the French newspaper Journal du Dimanche, arguing that Taiwan is vital to Europe's economic, commercial, and technological interests. Borrell said that European navies should show their commitment to freedom of navigation in the Taiwan Strait, which he described as an absolutely crucial area. Borrell's comments echo those he made last week at the European Parliament, where he said that Taiwan is part of Europe's geostrategic perimeter to guarantee peace. He also warned that any action against Taiwan by China would be morally unacceptable and economically disastrous for Europe, as Taiwan plays a strategic role in producing advanced semiconductors. Borrell's proposal comes amid rising tensions between China and Taiwan, which Beijing considers a breakaway province that must be reunited with the mainland by force if necessary. The Chinese regime has recently conducted military exercises around Taiwan, simulating attacks and blockades, in response to a meeting between Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen and U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The U.S. is Taiwan's main ally and arms supplier. President Biden has repeatedly said that the U.S. pledged to help defend the island in case of a Chinese invasion. Borrell's comments also follow those of French President Emmanuel Macron, who earlier this month said that Europe should not be a U.S. follower in the event of a war with the Chinese regime over Taiwan. Macron's remarks, made after a visit to China, drew criticism from some U.S. and EU politicians, who accused him of appeasing Beijing. The Chinese regime has previously denounced any foreign interference or military presence in the Taiwan Strait as a violation of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Guatemalan President Alejandro Giammattei has begun an official visit to Taiwan on April 24th to strengthen diplomatic relations with the island. According to AFP, this visit by the head of Guatemala has drawn China's ire. On April 19th, the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, warned Giammattei's government not to help evildoers and go against the general global trend and aspirations of the Guatemalan people for their own benefit. In response, Taiwan's foreign ministry said that the CCP was using extremely disrespectful remarks to insult our diplomatic ally and its head of state. Upon arriving at Taoyuan International Airport, President Giammattei was greeted by Taiwan's foreign minister Joseph Wu. According to the scheduled plan, the president of Guatemala will speak at the Taiwanese parliament, visit a technology company in Taichung, and attend an event promoting Guatemalan coffee. Before arriving in Taiwan, Giammattei said he was visiting to send a clear message that countries have a right to self-governance. Giammattei's visit is seen as a response to President Tsai Ing-wen's visit earlier this month to Guatemala. Guatemala is one of the few countries still maintaining diplomatic relations with Taiwan. However, under pressure from Beijing, a series of countries severed ties with the island, which was considered an essential outpost of a system of nations respecting democracy and human rights.
Italy is reconsidering its participation in China's Belt and Road Initiative as the U.S.-China standoff heats up. The country is the only member of the group of 7 that joins the Chinese infrastructure program, but sources disclosed to Bloomberg that it prefers an exit from that. The U.S. is trying to engage European nations to coordinate with it on matters such as export controls. While it might weigh on national security risks over trade with China, the EU is less willing, even as it also has to work together against Chinese economic coercion. Sources said Washington is particularly watching Italy's stance. The country, nonetheless, has remained a close trading relationship with Taiwan. Vincent Tsai, head of Taipei's office in Rome, has disclosed that trade between the countries grew 13% last year. A new Milan office is being set up to bolster trade further this year. but Italy is yet willing to assert its position openly. Bloomberg noted that withdrawing from the program would spell Chinese reprisals against Italy, both economically and diplomatically. Anonymous sources said Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has not accepted the request to visit China's Xi Jinping in Beijing, which was set for this May. The trip has been postponed as Italy explores ways to withdraw from the Belt and Road Agreement without angering China. Analyst Francesca Ghirardi at the Mercator Institute for China Studies research firm commented, "At the moment, it seems the government is leaning towards not renewing the pact, but in this scenario, it will be key to coordinate with the U.S. and other allies to react to a possible response."
The Chinese Communist Party, or CCP regime, is trying to cope with the high unemployment rates among youngsters by telling them to lower their standards for manual jobs. According to the Financial Times, the advice went as far as telling them to open their hearts to selling street foods, or returning to the farm. The Communist Youth League, or CYL, for example, in March complained that young graduates were so obstinate about a professional future that they overlooked jobs in factories. Instead, the report said the CYL urged youngsters to take off their suits, roll up their sleeves, and go to the farmland. In the same month, China Central Television and other affiliated state media outlets featured several stories of recent college graduates claiming they earn over $145,000, or 1 million yuan, in jobs that do not need high qualifications. One video that went viral on CCTV showed a young couple with college degrees who said they made more than $1,300 a night by selling teppanyaki tofu and french fries as street food vendors in Zhejiang province. China is battling persistently high rates of jobless youth. In March, that figure among people aged between 16 and 24 years old reached 19.6%, far outpacing the unemployment rate for the entire nation, which stays around 5%. But the CCP, taking on young aspirations despite their years of investment in education, is only drawing ridicule. One top-rated Weibo retort to the Communist Youth League mocked that the author should give up their current position and work as a cleaner instead. On the Zhejiang couple, a blog post argued that if they could make that much money from the low-cost dishes, they would have to serve at least 1.6 customers per minute throughout a night to reach that goal. In an interview with Beijing Youth Daily later, the couple admitted that the day CCTV interviewed them, they made at least 33% more than usual in sales. Then, on April 22nd, a video of a crying 25-year-old struggling to make money from selling street food topped China's online hot search list. Before trying out as a street food vendor, she was unemployed for 3 months. Then, waking up as early as 4 a.m. to prepare the stall, she only managed to earn 72 cents daily. According to mainland media Cover News, the online community reacted. "How can it be so easy? Let's just go to class, honestly."
A few days ago, Miles Yu, director of the China Center at Hudson Institute and former China policy advisor to the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, expressed his views on issues such as the Taiwan Strait in an interview with India's Sunday Guardian. He warned that China and neighboring countries are having territorial disputes, and the Chinese Communist Party, CCP's attack on Taiwan, would be the beginning of its series of aggressive actions. According to Da Jiwan, Miles Yu said in an interview that the risk of the CCP launching a war against Taiwan has increased, and the possibility of the CCP losing the war has also increased. This is because the cost of military action against Taiwan would be too high for it to afford, and the collective will oppose the CCP has also increased dramatically. He believes to avoid a military conflict, the U.S. and its allies should use deterrence and strategic clarity to firmly maintain the status quo and defend Taiwan. In addition, Yu also warned, attacking Taiwan is only the beginning of a series of aggressive actions by the CCP. He explained that the CCP has multiple territorial disputes with neighboring countries, especially India. India must do its best to prevent aggression in the first place because Beijing's next target will likely be India. An important role that India can and should play is to form a regional response coalition with countries that share the CCP threat, such as Japan and Vietnam, in preparation for Beijing's invasion of Taiwan. Although India is known for traditionally believing in a non-alignment policy, Miles Yu believes this country may also stand on the anti-CCP forces and alliances side and support Taiwan, because once India's national sovereignty is also threatened by a common rival, Taiwan and India will be in the same boat.